Well, today we have got another patch note review, which you know what that means, another rundown. So today we've got 3.1.3, which I feel like is a very good patch, but I have some concerns, but we're gonna come to that. Let's go to the good stuff. So first, balance changes, just as you saw on the Twitch stream. The balance changes involve Carthage and some of their reworks and balances, which I quite like. So let's take a look. We've got Hannibal changes, which are forced march, now removed view range penalty, makes perfect sense. Added minus 30% melee defense on the base ability, makes sense. Remove the recently attacked in melee deactivation flag. The auto deactivation flag removal means that the ability cannot be used to chase down enemy units, but with the added minus melee defense and the narrower formation, there's a serious consideration to be made on whether or not to have it active while fighting a retaliating enemy. I like it. I feel like it should have been usable that way a long time ago. Determination added the unbreakable tag. Okay. Base melee attack went from 20% to 15%. The addition of Unbreakable Tag will create new fight scenarios, improving the versatility of the commander. Yes, that is correct. I'm a little skeptical, as you heard from my voice, about the base melee attack reduction. Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna balance it out. Ad Portas can now be activated outside of combat. Oh. Remove the second phase. I was a little skeptical because it used to have two phases, with the second phase being very, very dangerous. Now it's just one phase, can now be activated outside of combat. Remove the second phase, it is now a single phase ability. So phase 1 changes, base damage has went from 100% to 50%, added 30% melee defense, 30% melee attack. Intensity timer reduced from 60 seconds to 12 seconds, and cooldown went from 240 to 140. Auto melee deactivation timer went from 4 seconds to 15 seconds, meaning it will be fairly easy, 3 times easier to chain your Ad Portas between combats, which is interesting. The base damage reduction, I feel like that serves fairly well, and with the upgrades, mind you, I believe these are not the upgraded versions because I remember base damage being like plus 200 something, but I might be wrong on that. The addition of base melee attack and defense, it's nice. Now it feels a lot more like Vengeance, which I have nothing against. I think the Hannibal should have this ability, so that's nice. Now we come to the Hasdrubal changes. Which I quite liked. Deep Pockets. Increased base defense 20%. Increased talents defense? What is talents defense? Guys, what is that? Anyway, increased base attack to 20%. Increased talents attack to 20%. Oh, guys, still no idea what it is. Remove the can't use when recently attacked in melee. Why did I even have this? Remove the can't use when recently attacked in melee invalid flag. Since the ability cannot be used in combat and the doubling of stat effects, this will provide a considerable improvement. Well, obviously. Will this cause a problem in balancing? I disagree. If you think so, that is. I feel like this is a very good change. Hasdrubal, I always felt like he was underwhelming because compared to Caesar, I felt like Hasdrubal, okay, they want to make like a single target buffer. Like, who just targets the unit they're gonna buff and debuff. Very nice. So I expected these to be a lot stronger. I mean, compared to, what was it, Veni? Which is like 50% defense, 50% offense in an area of effect. That's a pretty big change. Well, let's see. Bribe, remove the intensity timer. I still don't know why they even had the intensity timer. This will allow for instant effect, obviously. And added the 40% reload time component on the base ability. Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Now, this one is a brilliant idea because adding this, let's say you have your cavalry charge through, and now you're close enough to put it on the enemy archers, enemy javelins. Oh, this is gonna be good. This might make Hasdrubal very, very usable in competitive scene, because before I feel like he was just underwhelming. Let's see what else we've got. We've got Shield Screen. I also remember he had another ability, which is Flying Column. That one hasn't been changed. It was working very well according to the developers, which I agree. Let's see. Shield Screen. Remove the Cannot Move tag. Added a minus 50% move speed debuff. Removed the Silence tag. Increased shield block from 35 to 40. Added the automatically activates when in melee tag. Pretty good. I feel like that's how it should have been. So that is very good. Unit rebalancing. So minor rebalancing on tier 7 barbarian ambushers as their DPS output was too high. Makes sense. Now offensive output of javelinmen was too high. Total damage toned down across the board by approximately 8%. Now I'm not sure if this is both the total damage, like the standard damage and armor piercing damage. So is it 16%? 8% change? I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, as somebody who's known for playing javelins, this doesn't really change much for us because one of our volleys is still gonna do just as big of a damage, really. I mean, 8%, no big deal. The question is, in fact, the damage of the javelin was so high that they would overkill a model, causing a lot of the damage to be wasted, hence why your volleys are so much less effective when you're shooting units that are depleted. So that's one of the big things. It's a similar thing that happens with light artillery. Let's see, Barbarian tier 1 and 2 units role was formatted too much into scout direction, and as such they had survivability issues, especially when used by new players. Reduced the already very strong speed attribute and improved the armor attribute of the units to feel less extreme. You know what you should do about this? You should just make the low tier units feel a lot more like the high tier units. I know a lot of people have complained in the past that, oh, all the units feel the same. You are there to practice those units. I have played thousands of games with the same units, not to brag, but even I don't really know what to do in every single scenario. And not just that, even if I do know what to do, I need practice to do that. I need to discover those scenarios and I need to experience them, and then I need to react to them, and then I need to practice that reaction time and time again. So low tiers, it was a great way to like get used to at least the basics of it, and as such on high tiers you do not have people getting curb stomped against a lot more experienced players. So that is gonna be something quite important. And I feel like that's what they should do now that the Harbingers being basically shock cavalry, that kind of changes things way too much in my opinion, but it looks like the developers are trying to decide if they want tier 10 and tier 9s to be vastly different units or not. So we will see. I feel like they should all feel the same so that people improve on their focus. Let's say LD TPS overall mobility was too low, base increase 6.6, okay, some minor buffs. Tier 10 Band of Carthage speed was too low, so they got a little faster. Yes, now let's come to the big one. I am just gonna briefly skim over this, or I don't know, I'm still undecided if I should make a separate video or I should just leave it to the end of this one. So we will see at the end. So basically, premium units improved competitiveness. After reviewing the battle performance of premium units, many were not competitive enough in comparison with a fully upgraded researchable unit. As premium units do not have equipment progression, they were unable to compete with their researchable peers fairly. If this is the keyword, fairly, then I'm completely fine. I agree. I feel like premium units were a little underwhelming as they stood. Every premium unit's balance has been considered independently and altered to match the power of an upgraded unit. We have put actual value changes at the end of the patch notes. I already took a look at them. Battle UI, unit identifiers. They did some work on overlapping unit identifiers. The goal here is to make sure the player could easily find the information they were after in a small amount of interaction. This was actually a problem for a while, but in time you kind of get used to this. What I would do is just change my camera really quick, change my perspective to see all the units. But now that it's not going to be necessary, this is quite good. I feel like this is like the small quality of life improvement, which is very nice. Honestly, these are, especially for one patch, these are really good. So good job. So to do this, we have created 4 layers of priority for sorting unit IDs. Priority 1, unit ID of the units your mouse is hovering over. Very good. Unit ID of the currently selected primary unit. Unit ID of currently inspected unit. Priority 3, unit ID of your own. Priority 4, everything else. Makes pretty good sense. Let's see, front-end UI, premium units, commander synergy, premium unit information panels now include commander ability availability for the unit in question. This should help you to make more informed decision on purchase based on knowledge of how units will interact with commander abilities. Good idea, but if you don't know the base game, at least till tier 5, you should not purchase any premium units anyway. So let's take a bug fix. Fix the bug where countdown timer could be heard upon booting the tutorial. Huh, that's weird. Fix the bug where the battle horns were not playing audio for Carth. Yes, I actually had this. Users are now able to purchase units with mix of unit XP and free XP equipment in the panel and armies. Yeah, this was a bug that appeared in the last one. I suffered from it as well. The way I used to fix it is by switching from commander to commander until it went away. Fix the crash when viewing commander abilities for premium unit while in matchmaking. Sounds good. Sounds good. So let's see. It's all like buffs, except I heard that the Peltas, they got reduced, but considering it's like 8% all across the board reduction, that one is good. So, you know, I don't have much to say about the premium unit competitiveness, so I'm not gonna make a whole video about it. But to quickly touch upon it, to say what I think about it, I think Creative Assembly should stick to their old philosophy of premium units should be directly inferior to the fully upgraded units to avoid that pay-to-win stigma. There are already some people out there who want to throw pay-to-win stigma on anything that gives you any kind of advantage. Those people already know themselves. They do have some good points, but it's just so minor. Like some people say, oh, because you grind faster, but you're not improving yourself. That's what matters at the top tier. So the rest of it doesn't really matter. So that's not a big deal. But here, if a premium units becomes as good, that's why I was highlighting fairly. If the premium units become as strong stat-wise or even use-wise as the standard units, the game is gonna be hit with the pay-to-win stigma. It is, and you know how media is. You know how players are. You know how internet is. They love to throw mud around, and as soon as even if there's a rumor, it's gonna hit the game. It's gonna hit the game even if you remove it. Like Battlefront 2. Similar thing that happened, of course, on a completely different degree, but still, that stigma stays. So, just a bit of rebalance. I'll need to test those premium units to see if they are as good. One other thing to consider too is that premium units oftentimes have got different abilities that can make them even more useful than the units of the same tier, such as I remember one of the units having presence ability, which increases the fighting ability of nearby units by 5 or 10%, I think, which can be a pretty big game changer. If all the stats are same and you have that extra ability, dude, that's straight up better. So if you want to be competitive, well, you need to buy that premium unit. And what also can be throwing these statistics into disarray is that there is no incentive to not commit suicide with your premium units. That's what I do. I just take I want to farm a little, take my tier 8 units. I don't pay any maintenance cost anyway. Attack, die, score like 2k points, don't help my team at all, and then make a ton of money. You know, it's kind of what it's not really supposed to be done, but there's nothing that's preventing you from doing it. So, like, that's the current incentive right now. So there is that as well. Every premium unit balance has been considered. So we will see. That's basically what I was thinking. There's no need to make it longer. And I want to see this game succeed, and that kind of stigma can kill any game. They're walking a very tight line by even including these units that are only accessible through purchase. World of Warships, I remember, had been hit with that. They have avoided it very nicely. But there's already, like, in general consensus from what I have gathered, the Wargaming's games and their premium unit policies walk in a tight line. And as soon as they cross that line, people jump on it. You can see Jim Sterling, you can see how people have reacted when that one guy got banned. But what did people pay attention to afterwards? To the video which he got banned. What did that video talk about? An overpowered premium. I don't even know what unit it was, but I still remember overpowered premium unit, a pay-to-win unit. Yeah, that doesn't make me want to play that game at all. And if I'm getting that idea, chances are millions of people are going to be getting the same thing. So I don't know what you think, but do let me know what you think about these whole changes. And overall, I like them, except the premium units. Let's hope they make them competitive, like able to at least put up a fight against the fully upgraded units of the same tier. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.